Welcome 8th grade mentors. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this leadership development that we're doing with our 8th grade students. I've been hearing there's been great discussion, and I know they love to talk and start, really talking about their future and the type of leaders that they want to be one day. So today's activity is no exception. Today's activity is to do a little self-reflection. We want our kids to kind of identify, and mentors, we're giving them an opportunity for them to identify, self-reflect the leadership styles or qualities or traits that they have, as well as with the little information that you're going to provide to them, some of the activities that we're going to do with them, you're going to give them the opportunity to explore different aspects or types of leaders or leadership. Alright, so different aspects, explore different aspects or types of leaders and leadership. So hopefully, after a great healthy discussion, if it was a style or trait that they didn't have, maybe they'll be inspired to adopt that. Or maybe they'll see that they have a leadership style or trait or way of doing leadership that they want to build on, so improve. So long story short, that's what we're doing. We're going to continue to try to develop their leadership styles. So we're going to start with the question of the day as we normally do. So what do you feel are your best leadership qualities and why? What do you feel are your best leadership qualities and why? So I took a stab at it and did my own. I did my own little self-reflection. And I thought mine is being innovative and creative. They kind of go hand in hand. Being a visionary. I love looking into the future. Being a decision maker. At some point in time, somebody's got to make a decision. I feel like I'm capable of doing that. And then last but not least, I feel like I'm good at being fair, or at least I try as much as I can to be fair. So that's the question of the day. That was my little take on it. So what do you feel are your best leadership qualities and why? So mentors, don't forget, be prepared to answer that question yourself. Energizer. The Energizer for today is called Tony's Tattoo Parlor. I promise you I had nothing to do with this activity. It wasn't chosen because I have tattoos, but it's called Tony's Tattoo Parlor. So Tony's Tattoo Parlor, it's just a fun little spin, trying to do something a little bit relatable to the kids. And taking a spin on a tattoo shop, tattoo parlor. So how are we going to do this? You're going to break your team up into 2 pairs, so you'll have everybody break up into pairs. Someone's going to be a tattoo artist and someone's going to be a client. So the client is the person who's going to the tattoo artist wanting a tattoo, a really cool tattoo. So you're going to distribute. Once they're in their pairs, you're going to distribute a blank piece of paper to everyone and some pencils or Sharpie, whatever it is. But what they're going to do with this, remember, this is all leadership focus. Remember, it's all leadership focus. What they're going to do with their blank piece of paper is sketch. So they're going to sketch some leadership style or quality or traits that they feel they have to build this tattoo. So for example, I may have sketched, I'm not the greatest artist. I like the lion, the symbolism of a lion, because they can use animals, symbols, numbers. I'm going to say mine is a lion because I think a lion is courageous, blah, 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 blah. So maybe I sketch, to get my tattoo going, just as a quick example for the purpose of this video, I'm going to sketch some lion paws, and then I'm going to sketch a cross, because just for me, I want to be courageous in everything I do, but always continue on a path of spirituality. Pretty deep, huh? But anyway, that would maybe be my sketch, and then my tattoo artist would come up with his or her sketch, and then we both have sketches, right? And then at the end of the day, what we want to do is then you'll pass out to your students a longer piece of poster board, and what they're going to do is combine their sketches to create like a half sleeve tattoo. So they're combining. So we've got the tattoo artist who's identifying a leadership quality that they think is really cool about their client, and then the client is coming up with their own leadership style that they think best represents them. So you see, so this is an opportunity, to pay forward a great compliment, something that someone has observed in a young person, again, to help build their self-esteem, empower them, so to speak. So, for example, let's see, I pull it out of the oven, voila, finished product. So here I have my paws and my cross. My tattoo artist felt that I'm fair, so they did a whole balance scale. And my artist also thought I always am very creative and innovative and put a light bulb. So we decorated all around, we included both images, and we made our own tattoo sleeve. Really quickly, mind you, but this is what we came up with. So that's Tony's Tattoo Parlor. Again, the client comes up with their own leadership style or trait that they want to, illustrate. Symbols, animals, words, phrases. The tattoo artist would do theirs, and then you combine them and you create a half sleeve. And that's Tony's Tattoo Parlor. If you want to put a fun little spin on it, you can just mix it up and have everybody kind of go around and shop around and look for a new artist, and sit down with someone different and come up with another tattoo. All right? So that's Tony's Tattoo Artist. Pretty fun, pretty creative, very symbolic. It's all about leadership, don't forget. Now, your main activity is called Leadership Cake. Leadership Cake, all right? In Leadership Cake, you're going to start generating a discussion on different leadership styles, all right? So here's when we're going to start exploring those concepts of different leadership styles. So break up your team now into two bigger groups, and you're going to throw out 3 leadership styles. And those leadership styles are autocratic, democratic, and delegative. So you've got the autocratic leader, the democratic leader, and the delegative leader, all right? So while in those groups, you're not going to give them any definitions. You're just going to throw out those 3 terms, and you're going to have them in their groups, kind of brainstorm in their own little groups, their own definitions. They're going to come up with their own definitions. Once they're done, give them about 5 minutes, ask the groups to share, and let's see how close they are to the real definition of those 3 different leadership styles. Once they're done, you'll pick up your handout and you'll read out loud those 3 leadership styles. For example, I'll try to do this quickly. The autocratic leader provides clear expectations of what needs to be done, when it should be done, and how it should be done. There's a clear vision, a division between the leaders and the followers. They make decisions independently with little or no input from the group. Research has found that decision making was less creative under this leadership style. It's more difficult to move from this style to a democratic style and vice versa. Blah, 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 blah. The democratic leader is generally the most effective leadership style. They offer guidance to the group members. They participate with the group and allow for input. And because of this, people are more invested in the final decision-making process and so on and so forth. The delegative leadership, they're less productive of all the groups. They offer little or no guidance, leave decision-making up to a group, etc., etc., etc. I won't read all the definitions, but you'll read those out loud. So now they really know the definition of those 3 leadership styles. And now we'll move into our next thing here. Once you've given them that definition, now what we're going to do is look at some leadership, famous leaders, whether they're athletes, entertainers, or politicians. So in front of the room, you'll post some photos. We got some photos for you, and we cover the gamut, folks. We got Cesar Chavez, Hillary Clinton, and good old Snooki. And so then you're going to ask them now. You're going to keep the conversation going. You're going to ask them now. Look, these are 3 different types of leaders, right? And we want to find out. We want to try to identify what kind of leadership style they have. So what is their leadership style? So here's the question you can ask. What do you think is their leadership style, or what kind of leadership styles do they need in order to fulfill their roles? Whatever those roles are, whether it's Cesar Chavez, wanting to, have change, or Hillary Clinton, run our country, not run our country, but, international affairs, Snooki, maybe being a positive role model, and so on and so forth. So what are the leadership styles that we think these famous people have? You're going to have a lot more. You have athletes or whatnot. Or what are the kind of leadership qualities you think they need to be great leaders? All right, so you're going to have a discussion with these images. Afterwards, after you have that great discussion about their leadership styles or their traits, whether they're autocratic or democratic or delegative, now you're going to put up in front of the room. We're going to swap this out really quickly. Now we're going to put up in the room. You'll have one of your students draw a huge cake. So you want them to draw a nice big cake. I added a little slice of cake here to make sure everybody knew that this was a cake. and you're going to throw up a cake. Now you're going to pass out to each student a Post-it, just your simple everyday household office Post-it. And on that Post-it, using a cake recipe, and we give you an example in your handout of a cake recipe. Using a cake recipe, they're going to come up with the ingredients and the quantities to make a leadership cake. All right, they're going to come up with the ingredients and the quantities to make a leadership cake. For example, so again, individually, they're going to come up with their own ingredients for the leadership cake, and they're going to come up and then post it. So we might have little Johnny come up and say, I think to make our leadership cake, we need a cup of clear vision. So come up and put a cup of clear vision. So you got the quantity and the actual ingredient. Someone else might come up and say, I think we need 2 cups of all-purpose integrity. Having integrity no matter what it is that you're doing when you're a leader. I think that's a good one. Let's see, somebody else might come up and say, I think we need a tablespoon of assertive. Got to be assertive, you got to be confident and a decision maker. And then someone else might say, but you know what? A teaspoon of humor wouldn't hurt either. So just some examples of the ingredients and the quantities that you need to make a leadership cake, just like the kind of ingredients you would need to make a regular cake. All right, so that's it at the end of the day. Again, self-exploration, identifying your own leadership styles, and then giving them some information so you can explore different aspects of leadership, different types of leaderships by looking at some famous people. And then at the end of the day, you're going to close it all up by creating this leadership cake. So folks, have fun with your 8th graders. Build those leadership skills so they can be our next Cesar Chavez or Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. It's Will signing out.